We are live. We are live. Welcome to college football's peek around the corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything. And I mean everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Excuse me. If you want to support, do not forget to ring the notification bell. If you want to support this independent national college football's rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on, to grow the channel, just hit that $ where you make a comment, and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody. Everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. I do want to lead off. I do have a little bit of a cough, so I do want to apologize. I might be coughing a few times during the show. So I do want to apologize on that. The latest news, Ross Dellinger. I've got Brett Yormark on the mind. We'll get to that later on. Ross Dellinger has reported, and we're going to go through it here, that the Big Ten and the SEC are split within their conference when it comes supporting the Protect the College Sports Act. Now, there is not this there is not this like conference vote. I mean, there is and there isn't. Like, they did not have a vote. None of the conferences voted on it yesterday officially. But there is no like, they're not okay. The lawmakers are looking for enough support. And if they can get enough support, they're going to put it on the Senate floor, they're going to vote on it, and it may or may not pass. So we may not need a Big Ten saying we are completely in support of the bill or completely against it, or the SEC might say they're completely for it or completely against it. What Cruz and Cantwell are looking for is enough support. Do they have enough Big Ten, enough SEC presidents on board that might get their senators on board? It sure does sound like the Big Ten and the SEC have some supporting the bill. As has been reported yesterday and all these weeks, Sankey and Petitti really want an antitrust exemption. They do not want these state laws superseding and coming in. They don't want all these court cases. The Big 12 and the ACC, Yormark and Phillips, they want the same thing. Now again, the PCSA is in peril. There is a narrow path to get this voted on the Senate floor in the next week, and then get it to the House sometime after the August recess to get this done before the election season happens. There is a lot of motivation for the Big Ten and the SEC to find a way to get this done, to join the Big 12 and the ACC to get this done. One of the biggest fears we've been told at Peek Around the Corner is that next Senate, is that next House. The political leadership could change after the midterms, and there could be even more aggressive forces and voices coming and trying to rearrange the college sports landscape. Now, I do want to talk about today something, a door was opened to us late last night from Chatter Behind the Curtain. It started with the discussion around UNC North Carolina. It started with that. But then the discussion widened. I'm starting to understand what may be happening next. And that's what we're going to talk about at College Football's Peek Around the Corner. What if they do get this on the Senate floor? What if they actually vote on it? And what happens if it actually passes? Gets more than 60 votes. There is a House strategy. The Big Ten and the SEC are focusing on A, B, C, D in the Senate. And it sounds like they're letting E, F, and G dangle in the wind until it gets to the House. And then during reconciliation, that is when they're going to drop the last hammers on the last items that they're having problems with in this bill. We're going to get to that here a little bit later on in the program, the back half of the program. There is a lot of motivation to get this done. Lots of motivation to get this done. Whatever comes out of the Senate ain't going to be the last. It's not going to be the bill that passes. It's not going to be the bill that President Trump signs. But what they're trying to do is to try to get that cap solid and as strong as possible. And they want that number to go up, and they want that number to be able to go up in the future years. They want to be able to make the rules NCAA, everybody under one umbrella, where it can hold up in the courts. They want that antitrust exemption. And the lawmakers know that. So the lawmakers are playing hardball. The Big Ten and the SEC are playing hard to get. And we'll see where this ends up. Bruce Harris, Oklahoma Sooner, starts this off with a very kind super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. "16 straight days over 100. Help us, Greg. The cold, you are our only help." We finally got a day here in Minnesota that is not burning up. If I had the power to make Oklahoma cooler, I would have made Minnesota cooler in the last couple of weeks. I mean, during our vacation, we had no day below 93. Very hot here, and it's humid in Minnesota. So there's no such thing as dry heat in Minnesota. Not when you're the land of 12,000 or more lakes. There's more water here than anywhere else. There is no dry heat in Minnesota. So, I can't help you, Bruce Harris, but I want to thank you for your $5 holler. Very much appreciate it. We're going to be talking about your Oklahoma Sooners, Bruce Harris. And I will say this. The one team that I could get the most wrong on are your beloved Sooners. That is the ball club. That is the team that I am least confident about when we do our PATC, SEC, final order of finish prediction. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing that today on this beautiful Friday, July 31st. We've already done the Big 12. We'll go over it real quick. The Big 12. There it is. Colorado, Cincinnati, UCF, Iowa State, Arizona State, Baylor, Kansas, West Virginia, TCU, Arizona, Kansas State, Houston, Utah, Oklahoma State, BYU, and Texas Tech. And then the Red Raiders are the Big 12 champions once again. They're going to beat the BYU Cougars 20-17. That was the Big 12 final order of finish prediction, a live show that we did last Saturday night. Now, today is a Friday afternoon, and we're going to lay it down. All 16 SEC teams from 16-1. Buckle up, brace for impact. We are all locked in here at Peek Around the Corner. 2026 is the year of Greg the Gold. So you better hope. Now, we did our way too early SEC order finish prediction. And again, we made some changes. Let me show you real quick here. Are way too early. We did it in early spring. The Longhorns, number 1. LSU, number 2. Georgia, number 3. Ole Miss, number 4. Texas A&M, 5. Alabama, 6. Florida, 7. Oklahoma, 8. South Carolina, 9. Tennessee, 10. Missouri, 11. Auburn, 12. Vanderbilt, 13. Arkansas, 14. Mississippi State, 15. Kentucky, 16. That was our way too early order of finish prediction. Like we do every off season. We lay it down in early spring. But today, it's the official prediction. Changes have been made since early spring. So buckle up, brace for impact. We are going to start off our show with that. Then I want to get into the Ross Dillinger reporting. The latest. Sounds like it's not completely dead. The Big Ten and the SEC, they want to get something done. Here is Evil Badger, $10 holler. My goodness. Incredible generosity by my friend, the Evil Badger. Thank you so very much. Evil Badger. Hey, SEC fans. Stop your whining about your conference being the best conference. The Big Ten is the best conference. Since the NIL era, hands down. Here's some cheese with that wine. I agree with Signetti. I see there's a lot of SEC fans in the chat room. I love you, my SEC brothers and sisters. In fact, I love you so much, sometimes I'm accused of being an SEC homer, a secret SEC homer, because I think you're going to get off the mat. I think you're going to have a team in the national championship game, and I think that team could win it all. I think the SEC is going to rise up and do really, really, really good this year. And I give you my reasons why. I love this slate of quarterbacks, experienced quarterbacks, guys that are coming back like Trinidad Chambliss, Arch Manning, Marcel Reed. I mean, most of these guys are only going to be better this year. I think the SEC is going to be dynamic. I think the SEC is going to be great. I think the SEC is going to be fun to watch. But there is mass hysteria going on amongst the SEC brothers and sisters. And not all of you. Of course not all of you. But some of you, there is this coping going on here. There's these excuses going on here. We play a difficult schedule. Our teams can't possibly perform in the playoffs. We're beaten down. First of all, that is absolutely ridiculous. There's a big layout, even if that is true, which is not true. But even if that was true, there's a big layout between the end of the season and when the playoffs start. Indiana is not the national champions because of any other reason than They were the best team in the country. They beat the Buckeyes. They beat the Hurricanes. They whooped up on the SEC in the playoffs. I know they're the Hoosiers. I get it. They're the Hoosiers. They're not a big brand, so therefore there's got to be some other reason why the Rose... No. There is no other reason. Indiana Hoosiers were the best team in the country. I agree. No, I love to disagree with Evil Badger. He's a Badger, I'm a Gopher. I give a lot more love to the SEC than the Evil Badger. But on this point, he's absolutely correct. Not all of you have been whining. Not all of you have been crying. Paul Feinbaum has come out and he's plainly said, look, I thought at the end of the national championship game last year, when Indiana won it, and I was doing a live show, I was doing a watch party, and I said, I'm the last man over the bridge. I am the last man walking over the bridge. I'm the last man who finally figured out that the Big Ten is the best football conference in the country. Boy, was I wrong. I'm definitely not the last guy. It's all over. Old Dad, go flip on ESPN. Go flip on any of those channels. They just had one today where they had 3 people standing up there and saying, well, you really got to figure in the whole conference from top to bottom. The SEC is the best. Baloney. Baloney. The SEC is not the best football conference in the country. No, you could be after this year. In fact, you very well could be. But come on. Look at your playoff record over the last 3 years. Look what has happened in the bowl game against the Big Ten teams. At some point, hold on, I know a lot of people are yelling and screaming at me. You'll get your chance. You can call me, tell me how wrong I got it once again. At some point, something has to matter other than these stupid metrics before the season starts, where there's a self-fulfilling prophecy, strength of record, strength of schedule, because all the SEC teams are in the top 20, or most of them. This year is going to be absolutely delicious. Because for the last couple of years, especially the last year, as I have been pushing the Army of 24, a playoff of 24, while I have been pushing that I don't care if there's a 9-3 team or an 8-4 team in the playoffs. I think they should be able to go. If they're good enough, if they've gotten better during the season, if they've beaten some really good teams, if they're the top 24 team in the country, I don't have no problem with a 9-3 and 8-4 team. But my goodness, all these national reporters, and a lot of them down south are saying you can't have a 9-3 team in the playoffs. You can't have an 8-4 team in the playoffs. Well, wait until this year. Wait until we have a plethora of 9-3 SEC teams, maybe even an 8-4 SEC team that the national reporters are going to be saying they should be in the playoffs ahead of 11-1 ACC team, ahead of 11-1 Big 12 team. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. People are going to wake up. For the last decade, and for the last 4 years on this show, well, the middle of the Big Ten ain't no good. The middle of the Big Ten just doesn't hold up. The middle of the Big Ten, well, the middle of the Big Ten has been taking on extra losses It's called math. That's what's going to happen in the SEC this year. It's called math. Especially at the bottom of the SEC. They're going to have an extra loss in there. Those records are going to look similar to the Big Ten. It's called math. I cannot wait for the seasons to start. I am so amped up for this season. And again, today we are doing the Southeastern Conference order of finish prediction. And I'm going to nail this thing. Let me know how wrong I got it once again, but I got this thing nailed to the wall. We've broken down all the tapes. We've done the Spotlight series on every SEC team. And again, I think the Southeastern Conference is going to get off the mat this year. I think they're going to get a team in the national championship game. And I think that team can win it all. And then the Southeastern Conference can get back to what they're most comfortable with. Saying that they're the best team in the best conference in the nation. And they don't have to do all this coping stuff. They don't have to. You've got that SEC, what was her name? Rutledge, going out there and talking about a 9-game SEC conference. You've all seen the videotape where she's saying, look, she's looking at the panel back and forth. Look, that 9-game conference schedule. The SEC teams are beating each other down. They can't perform in the playoffs. Well, first of all, Miss Rutledge, I think that's what your name is. With all due respect, the SEC hasn't even played a 9-game conference schedule yet. And you're already making excuses. It's embarrassing. What happened to the SEC? What happened to all this pride? You lost. You lost that. You lost the ability to claim you are the best football conference in the country. But this year, you can reclaim that. You can reclaim it. You start off this way. Texas at home against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Oklahoma at home against the Michigan Wolverines. Mississippi State on the road goes to our beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers. Southeastern Conference, go and win 2 out of those 3. Go win 3 out of those 3. Start there. And look, 2026 is Greg the Gold's redemption tour. Let 2026 be the Southeastern Conference redemption tour. Deal? Deal. All right. Thank you so much, Eva Badger. I very much appreciate it. We've got Ricky Tungate. My goodness, $50 holla. $50 holla. Thank you, Ricky. Incredible, massive super chat. Thank you so much for your generosity. Very kind, sir. You've done a lot for our program. I can't thank you enough. The Indiana Hoosiers. Now, again, Ricky, I've said this before. Buckle up. Buckle up on October 31st because we are heading to Bloomington. Heading to Bloomington, Indiana, and the Golden Gophers are looking to shock the world. I think that's going to be Indiana's 10th straight game that they play. I think it's 10 in a row. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. Thank you very much, sir. I very much appreciate it. Massive super chat from the reigning, defending, undisputed national champion, the Indiana Hoosiers. We've got the Arkansas Razorback, Elvon Gully. Hey, Greg, I have to watch later to entertain myself at work. Just stopping by to show support. But before I go, the hypocrisy from the Big Ten is crazy. The Big Ten denied and made excuses the last 20 years. I did not know the Big Ten made. No, look, the Big Ten did say they were playing 9 conference games, and SEC was getting out by playing 8 conference games. But everybody knew that the Southeastern Conference has been the best football conference in the country. No question, no doubt, for decades, for a couple of decades. I don't think anyone was doubting that. I can't imagine if somebody did. Excuse me, but they're a complete moron if they did. And again, when Michigan in the Big Ten performance in 2023 happened, peek around the corner, I declared the Southeastern Conference still the best conference in football. When the Buckeyes won it in 2024 and the Big Ten overall performance was better than SEC, I came on here and I said, the SEC is still the best football conference in the country. In 2025, it became even more. It was going into the national championship game. Indiana, Miami, 3rd year in a row, an SEC team did not make the national championship game. Indiana 38, Alabama 3. Ole Miss gets blown out. The Big Ten has rocked and rolled over the SEC in the playoffs and the bowl games, and I still declared the Southeastern Conference as the best football conference in the country until it was over and Indiana defeated Miami, and then I was the last man over the bridge. I've given, personally, the Southeastern Conference all the flowers that they deserve. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend anymore. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the SEC does not have a major challenger in this new NIL era. It's happened. And now it's the Southeastern Conference chance. It is their chance to reclaim what they believe is rightfully theirs, to be called the best football conference in the country. Thank you, Mr. Arkansas Razorback, Yvonne Gully. I appreciate it, sir. Appreciate your generosity. I hope you're entertained as you watch this later on tonight, because we are going to do the PATC SEC final order of finish prediction. And we are going to start that right now. Right now, let's get it going. We have got a lot. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Kenneth Manor, I do appreciate your comment. The Big Ten needs to dominate for a decade or more to get that status, just like the SEC did. A 3-year sample isn't enough. This is where I don't agree. Now, I get it. I mean, a lot of people would agree with you, Kenneth, but we are in this new era, right? NIL era that started 3 years ago. I mean, that comment to me sort of reminds me of Clemson is not as good as football program as Minnesota because Minnesota has 7 national championships. Of course, Clemson has a much better football program than Minnesota. You got it. It's what has happened recently, and what happened. And there's been so much changes in college football. Look, I'm not going to take away Georgia's incredible teams of 21 and 22, or Alabama before that. Well-deserved national champions, great SEC, still a great conference, but we can't sit here and pretend that the college football world is the same now as it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years ago. It's a completely different world. Things can change. All right. Thank you, Kenneth Manor. I very much appreciate it. All right. Yogi Buck, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that later in the program. Yogi Buck made a comment. UNC almost acts like nobody wants them. No, they know somebody wants them. We are going to get back to that in the back half of the monologue. Let's start with the SEC. Order of finish prediction. We'll get to the super chats and phone calls after we do our prediction segment and after we do the Ross Dellinger reporting and we hit upon what Yogi Buck just said here. Big Ten and the SEC presidents split on the PSCA. House strategy comes next. But first, PATC, the Southeastern Conference, the proud, the mighty. Order of finish prediction for the 2026 season. 1 through 16. Now, I did show you PATC's way too early prediction, but there has been some changes. In our way too early order of finish prediction in early spring, we had Kentucky at number 16. Well, Kentucky is no longer at 16. It's Mississippi State. Now, I get it. A lot of you are shaking your head at me. A lot of you are saying, wow, Greg, you have put yourself in a no-win position. Because your Golden Gophers, who have been a little bit better than average in the Big Ten, they've been finishing above 500 in the Big Ten. The last 2 years, they've finished up at the bottom of the top of the Big Ten. And you're playing Mississippi State at home, and you've got Hall State at number 16. Great. If Mississippi State goes into Minnesota and defeats your beloved Golden Gophers, you're never going to hear the end of it. You're never going to hear the end of it, Greg. Why are you doing this, Greg? My answer is simply this. Bring on the smoke. Bring it on. Yes, the Golden Gophers are in a no-win situation. They're expected to beat Mississippi State. If Minnesota defeats Mississippi State, all of you are going to throw your hands up and say, well, of course, you're at home and you're supposed to be better than Mississippi. Greg, this ain't no big victory, Greg. But if the Gophers lose, oh boy, am I going to get it from the PATC Einsteins. The national narrative, oh, the SEC bottom team can beat the middle of the Big Ten. I say bring it on. Bring on the smoke. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Let's go. Mississippi State, Hall State, Kamario Taylor, the quarterback, incredible athlete. Now, he hasn't played a whole bunch. And he's going to make big runs during the SEC. He's going to make plays. But I don't think he's ready to be a quarterback that can lead Mississippi State anywhere in 2026. I keep looking at their roster. Now, Jeff Lebby, he might be on his last legs at Mississippi State. They brought back the very good, successful defensive coordinator, Zach Arnett, for Mississippi State. But their defense, they got back Isaac Smith. The secondary is going to be okay. Kelly Jones in the secondary. But that offense, they got Taylor, they got that fluff bag, Bothwell, running back. And I don't know what else they got. If you line up Mississippi State along with Arkansas, I would take Arkansas over Mississippi State. I had Kentucky at number 16 in the way too early order finish prediction. But another look, I don't see it. Mississippi State, Hall State, we'll see you in Minnesota, second week of the season. Mississippi State at number 16. At number 15, Alvin Gully's Arkansas Razorback. Nick Kelso, Arkansas Razorback. Jamie Thornton, Arkansas Razorback. We got a lot of Arkansas Razorbacks in the PATC family. Great fan base, great atmosphere. Arkansas loves their college football. New head coach Ryan Silverfield. First year. It's going to be a tough first year. What I'm most interested in is to see who's going to end up being QB1. It looks like it's going to be KJ Jackson. There's some optimism that KJ Jackson is going to be a pretty good quarterback this year. And I'm very interested in what Sutton Smith can do. Remember, when Ryan Silverfield came from Memphis to Arkansas, he was able to bring his best running back, Sutton Smith, along with them. I should say his most talented running back. C.J. Brown, wide receiver. And again, we talked about it when we did the spotlight on Arkansas. Our spotlight series, Arkansas, we really put the spotlight on defensive end Quincy Rhodes, who, by the way, was at the SEC Media Days. Very impressive young man. Very impressive young man. A lot of speed at the D end for the Arkansas Razorback. Quincy Rhodes is probably going to have another monster year for the Razorbacks. But after saying all that, I put Arkansas at number 15. I can't put them any higher. Vanderbilt at 14. Look, I don't know what to say. Charlie Lee could surprise us again. Right? You got to give him all the flowers in the world for what he's done at Vanderbilt. The Diego Pavia era was an incredible success for the Commodores. Now they're moving from Diego Pavia to the true freshman Jared Curtis. The highly rated 5-star quarterback, once committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. It's the Curtis era at Vanderbilt. But again, true freshman. true freshman in the SEC. Now, look, it's worth it. I think Charlie Lee's doing the correct thing. You've got to play him. He's going to have great moments. But in the SEC, true freshman, Cedric Alexander's a very good running back. He's going to have to lean on Alexander. That defense is going to be poor this year. It is. They got that linebacker, Longwell. I can't remember his first name, but they're going to be poor. They're going to be really poor. So, can Jared Curtis win a couple of SEC games, outscore the opponents? He's going to have to beat somebody not to finish in 16th, not to finish in 15th. I've got Vanderbilt at number 14. Now, Kentucky I've got at 13, and I had them at 16 in the way too early order of finish prediction. But I've got them in the right spot here. They're going to win a couple of games. They could go 3-6 in the Southeastern Conference. You might think I'm crazy, but I don't know. I like Kenny Minchey. He's not a true freshman quarterback like Jared Curtis. He's going to be better, I believe, than KJ Jackson. He's way more ready than Kamario Taylor from Mississippi State. Kenny Minchey was so close to being the starting quarterback of Notre Dame. And now he's going to be the starting quarterback of Kentucky under Will Stein, the new head coach of Kentucky. I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with Kenny Minchey. And of course, they got the transfer running back, C.J. Baxter from Texas. We talked about that in the spring. Wide receiver Nick Anderson, who's been around. They got him in the portal. They got linebacker Sam Green, we talked about in the Spotlight series. So Kentucky under Will Stein, I think they're going to be much improved. We've got the Kentucky Wildcats at number 13. At number 12. We had Auburn at this spot in our way too early order of finish prediction. But we changed it up. I had to drop Missouri. I'm feeling less and less confident in the Missouri Tigers and Elijah Drinkwitz. Ahmed Hardy, we don't know. We just don't know where Ahmed Hardy is right now in his recovery from his gunshot injury. Jamal Roberts was a very good RB2 running back last year. He's probably going to be a pretty good RB1 running back, if need be, for Missouri Tigers. Austin Simmons, the transfer from Ole Miss, who lost his job to Trinidad Chambliss. I've got a lot of question marks around Austin Simmons. I get that he's a very, very, very high quality quarterback coming out of high school. He got nicked up at Ole Miss. He lost his starting job. But I do like some of the weapons around Austin Simmons. Caden Lee. You remember Caden Lee, Ole Miss wide receiver, coming with Austin Simmons, going to be starting wide receiver for Missouri Tigers. Brett Norfleet, who we've talked about in Spotlight series last year and this year and last year. The tight end Brett Norfleet. Here's the problem with the Missouri Tigers. They had in my opinion, they had a very surprising, successful defense last year. If you look up at their team defensive stats, they were decent. But they return 1 starter on defense. One, I think their defense is going to absolutely collapse this year. So I got Missouri Tigers at number 12. There's going to be a lot of high-scoring games Missouri Tigers are going to be in the SEC. South Carolina, I moved the Gamecocks from 9 to 11. I think Shane Beamer is going to lose his job after this year. I'm starting to question if he is a head coach material, especially in the Southeastern Conference. South Carolina has got elite players at the top of the roster. Quarterback Lenore Sellers, 2 years ago, absolutely outstanding. Last year, he took a big dip. This year, the Gamecocks have got themselves a new offensive coordinator. They're going to do a lot of the short passing game. Can Lenore Sellers bounce back? At the running back position, Matt Fuller got his feet wet a little bit last year, carried the ball more. Matt Fuller, they're looking at a Christian Clark to be RB2 for the Gamecocks. And of course, Lenore Sellers he should play a major part in the running game. They got that phenom athlete at wide receiver, Nick Harbor. Nick Harbor should flirt with 1,000 yards receiving in 2026. Should and will, would and could, those are all different. I don't know if Lenore Sellers can get the ball to Nick Harbor enough. Why? Because the South Carolina Gamecocks offensive line has not been able to block for years in Columbia, South Carolina. The offensive line is an absolute wreck. Can they improve under Shane Beamer? Defensively, they're going to be okay. Starting with, of course, all SEC, All-American defensive end, Dylan Stewart, who's an animal at the defensive end. Hopefully for the Gamecocks, he's able to get more sacks. He gets a lot of hurries. He rushes the quarterback. He causes a lot of chaos behind the line of scrimmage. Dylan Stewart is an absolute monster. Most likely going to be a first-round NFL draft pick in the spring of 2027. Vicari Swam, I do like him at cornerback, a very good punt returner as well. South Carolina, number 11. Vicari Swam, Dylan Stewart, good defense, offense. I think on offense they're going to struggle again because of that offensive line. And Shane Beamer, I don't think he's going to survive this season. Number 10, I moved him up from number 12 to number 10. From the early prediction to the final prediction is the Auburn Tigers. I think Alex Skolish is going to squeeze more out of the Auburn Tigers this year than I think a lot of people are expecting. Byron Brown, the quarterback, is a major wild card. He's stepping up in the class. He's going from the American to the Southeastern Conference. Byron Brown threw for more than 3,000 yards last year, ran for more than 1,000 yards last year. He's not going to be able to do that in the Southeastern Conference. But can he come close to it? Running back Jeremiah Cobb, we talked about him a lot this offseason. He's a very good running back. You've got linebacker Xavier Atkins, We put him under the spotlight during the off season. He's a monster. I don't know if I can put Auburn higher than number 10. They have not finished above 500 in Southeastern Conference play since the year 2019, I believe. Auburn Tigers have not been the same since our beloved Minnesota Golden Gophers beat the Auburn Tigers in a January 1st bowl game in 2019, 2020. But I think at the end of the day, at the end of the season, Alex Golesh is going to give enough to the Auburn Tiger fans to feel good going into 2027. So overall, I think Auburn is going to have a mildly successful season. Tennessee, I think they're going to take a step back this year. Quarterback George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, one of those two are going to be the quarterback for Tennessee, and they're probably going to be pretty successful at the quarterback position because Josh Heupel, he's a brilliant offensive mind, and he is absolutely brilliant at developing quarterbacks. Deshaun Bishop, great running back. Tennessee's going to score points. Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews. We talked about their wide receiver room. Yes, they lost a big timer to the NFL last year, but they got a pretty good production coming back. The defense is going to be the question mark, along with their young quarterbacks, of course. We spotlighted Ty Redmond in our off-season spotlight series. Tennessee, I don't think they belong 10 through 16. But I can't move them to number 8, to number 7, or to number 6. I think there's a little bit of a gap between 8 and 9. The Tennessee quarterbacks are the story for Josh Heupel. George McIntyre, Faison Brandon, one of those two. It might not happen at the start of the season, but one of those two are going to grab the reins, the Volunteers. And the Volunteers are going to have some really good moments this year. I just don't think it's going to be good enough to finish in the top 8. I think the Tennessee Volunteers take a slight step backwards this year. Number 8 is the wild card of all wild cards. It's the one that I'm most vulnerable to really getting it wrong. Number 8, the Oklahoma Sooners. I see some publications, some national college football YouTube channels having Oklahoma finishing in the top 4 of the SEC, having Oklahoma going to the college football playoffs. And that might happen. That might happen. I might end up looking like a schmuck. Here's the problem that I have. Oklahoma had the top defense in the nation last year. They went to the playoffs last year. And I understand John Mateer, first-year quarterback at Oklahoma. He got a hurt hand. Greg, you cannot evaluate the Oklahoma Sooners offense on what happened last year. And you're correct. You're correct. But emotionally, I cannot. The Sooners-Alabama game at Norman, I sat here and I confidently predicted Alabama to win that game. And I also said that Alabama would get their doors blown out by Indiana. That happened. Oklahoma did not. They deserved to go to the playoffs. Very good team last year. But that offense was so clunky. It was so clunky. It was so clunky. And that's not the only time I'm going to use this word clunky offense. There's another team in the top 8 that had a clunky offense last year. Xavier Robinson, Blaylock was their backup running back last year. He's coming back. Decent running back room, but they got to be able to run the ball. Defensively, they got the Bowen brothers in the backfield. I don't remember the names. Peyton Bowen and his brother. Great defense. Offense, clunky. I cannot get them higher than number 8. Can't do it. I could be completely wrong on this. Oklahoma could absolutely sizzle. But I got a lot of trauma watching that offense last year. Number 7, Alabama. And I think Kalen DeBoer is in trouble. I had them at number 6 in the way too early prediction. I dropped them a spot. Now I have them at number 7 in our final prediction. Quarterback Austin Mack or Keelan Russell? Who's going to be the starting quarterback? I don't even think that's the issue. That is not the issue. They got Rico Scott, wide receiver. They got Noah Rogers, wide receiver. Hopefully one of those two or both of them can help out Ryan Coleman Williams. But that's not even the issue. The defense taking a little bit of a step back lately. Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard, great safeties. That's not the issue. Alabama's issue is they can't run the damn ball. It is, what the heck is going on in Tuscaloosa? They can't run the ball. They can't block. Look, again, that Alabama-Indiana game, Indiana, they knew they had them beat. They can't run the ball anymore at Alabama. And I don't know, guys. I dropped them from 6 to 7. Maybe I should have put Oklahoma ahead of Alabama. Maybe I should have put Tennessee ahead. They don't have Ty Simpson. They're going to have a quarterback in there that has barely played, Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. They're going to need to be able to run the ball. Daniel Hill needs to have an opening somewhere. I'm not buying Alabama. Sorry. I know we got some PATC Roll Tide members. Tell me how wrong I got it once again, but we've got Alabama at number 7. At number 6, and we moved this team up from 7 to 6. We had them at 7 on our way to early order finish prediction, but now we got the Gators at number 6. Yes, yes, yes. The Florida Gators at number 6. first-year head coach John Summerall. Here comes the Gators. I'm a big Aaron Philo fan. Nobody else is. Nobody else is. Nobody else is a fan of Aaron Philo, but I am. I know he's got arm talent. The Florida Gators, Aaron Philo coming in from Georgia Tech, the offensive coordinator coming in from Georgia Tech. I get it. It could be Trammell Jones. He could play some. That's all good and fine. The quarterback is going to be just fine at Florida Gators because they got a running back, Jaden Baugh, who was outstanding last year, who had no passing game. Jaden Baugh had to run against a stacked deck every time he touched the rock. Not this year. Not this year. Jaden Baugh is going to be a superstar for Florida this year. And then you've got Dallas Wilson. True freshman, he got injured. The wide receiver. But he's going to produce for Florida this year. You got Vernell Brown, who's going to produce this year for Florida. And they had a very good defense. They're going to have a good defense this year. Miles Graham, Jaden Robinson, linebackers, Bryce Thornton, safety. We had the spotlight on him in the spring. You know what I'm going to say here? Again, a lot of you are going to laugh at me. But the Gators actually have a really good balanced football team. For a first-year head coach, John Summerall, for a football program that just lost their head coach, I think the Gators are going to be in pretty good spot coming out of year one with John Summerall at the helm. Florida Gators at number 6. Number 5. Could not put him any higher. I wanted to. I wanted to push them up in the final 4, the top 4 of the SEC, but I could not quite pull the trigger for the Texas A&M Aggies. Marcel Reed showed me something last year. He developed during the season. And when you got the great wide receiver, Mario Craver, you've got the young guy, Ashton Bethel Roman, who we put under the spotlight in our spring spotlight series. The wide receiver room is going to be really good. The running back, Ruben Owens, we'll see. The defense, TJ Searcy, the great defensive end. The cornerback, Des Ricks. Ratliff and Brooks, and the safeties. Again, the SEC is loaded with great safeties. Texas A&M, Mike Elko, I think they're going to come up just short. Just a little short to get to the playoffs this year. Texas A&M, number 5. Number 4, and I truly believe they're going to get back to the playoffs. The Ole Miss Rebels. I love Trinidad Chambliss. You all know we've already done our Week 0 Heisman Watch. We got Chambliss at number 1. He's the leader, PATC Heisman Watch leader, the quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. Love him, love him, love him. I think he's going to have another outstanding season. I know Lane Kiffin is gone. I know he's gone. Thank you, Bruce Harris. Eli Bowen, he's the other guy. He's the other guy. Thank you, sir. I love Chambliss. And I love Kewan Lacey. Who could not love Kewan Lacey? What he did for Ole Miss last year. Deuce Alexander, the wide receiver. Ole Miss is going to score. They're going to score again. And they've got that defensive hammer, that defensive tackle in the middle, Will Eccles, who's on everybody's SEC's all first team. Cam Franklin, defensive end. Ole Miss defense, they got to survive. They got to be just good enough because the Rebels are going to score. I don't know if the Rebels defense is going to be quite good enough. They were just good enough last year. We've got them Ole Miss Rebels at number 4 because of questions on defense, but the offense is going to light it up. Pete Golding, head coach for the whole entire season. We'll see how that works. Number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Bulldogs. Safely into the college football playoffs, but not quite getting to the SEC championship game. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton. Pretty damn good last year. He's definitely one of these guys who's going to be probably perking up on the Heisman watch list here at Peek Around the Corner. Gunnar Stockton, he should be even better this year. And of course, you got my favorite running back, Nate Frazier. Give him the rock, and they were starting to give him the rock the second half of the season. I think he finished with 900 and some yards rushing. Give the ball to Nate Frazier consistently. Now, their offense was a little clunky. It was. It has been. And they're going to have to rely on a couple of really young wide receivers to get connected to Gunnar Stockton. Landon Roldan and Taylon Taylor are these 2 really young wide receivers. They got to get that passing game going. Downfield passing game. Quintavious Johnson, linebacker. KJ Bolden, safety. Ellis Robinson, cornerback. Gabe Harris, defensive end. The Georgia Bulldogs defense is going to be really, really, really good. They've got others. But because, again, a little bit of trauma watching the Georgia Bulldogs offense last year, it should have been better. The running game should be better. It's not Alabama bad, but it ain't Georgia great like it should be. This year, it could be great. But for now, we got the Georgia Bulldogs at number 3. Number 2, and I am more confident about this than I have been even in the spring. I am incredibly confident about the LSU Tigers. Sam Leavitt, he's going to be mighty successful under Lane Kiffin. He was mighty successful under Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. This dude can play. He's going to shake up the SEC. And he's got guys who have been playing at a very high level. Jace Brown, the transfer from Kansas State, high level. Eugene Wilson. Now, Eugene Wilson is one of these guys who is going to excel under Lane Kiffin. Eugene Wilson came from Florida. He's a type of wide receiver. You give him those. You remember all those throws that Trinidad Chambliss threw at Ole Miss last year? He took the ball, that quick out along the sidelines to the Ole Miss wide receivers. That's what Lane Kiffin is going to do with LSU with Sam Levitt throwing the ball to Eugene Wilson. And Eugene Wilson, he's going to be a great first down wide receiver for LSU. He's going to make some plays. And of course, you've got Des Green, Des Green, the great tight end of LSU, under Lane Kiffin with Sam Levitt, Chase Brown, Eugene Wilson, and all of that, I believe that LSU is going to be able to run the ball like they want to. Because again, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, their running games have not been up to par. They haven't been. But this year, Harlem Berry and Caden Durham, they're going to have more room. The box ain't going to be stacked up against the LSU running game. Yeah, I'm excited about this LSU team. Defense, portal, boom, Prince Hugh. That is a big get. They got another year with linebacker Whit Weeks. They've got cornerback Tamarcus Cooley and P.J. Woodland. Sorry, Cooley is a big-time safety for LSU. This LSU Tiger team is going to be extremely balanced this year. Ole Miss is not balanced. Texas A&M not balanced. Florida, I think, is going to be balanced, but a little bit at a level, a couple levels below LSU. LSU is not going to have a clunky offense. The Tigers are going to go to the SEC championship game. And who are they going to play? They are going to play your Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns, number 1 in the SEC. Arch Manning. He's going to have an outstanding season. He's going to have a phenomenal backfield. Let's start with the backfield. Raleek Brown, the great running back from Arizona State, got him in the portal. Hollywood Smothers, got him in the portal from North Carolina State. You got Smothers and Brown in the backfield. Oh, but that's not all. You're bringing back Ryan Wingo, which is good. A player that, Arch Manning is familiar with. Oh, but who do you add? Who do you add along with Ryan Wingo? You add in Cam Coleman. Are you kidding me? Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, along with Arch Manning. Defensively, you've got Colin Simmons. You got the great linebacker, and we had him in the spotlight last year and the year before for the Pittsburgh Panthers. We've been talking about this dude for 3 years, Rasheem Biles. He's going to be outstanding for the Longhorns. Jelani McDonald, the great safety for the Longhorns. It's going to come down to Mr. Sarkisian, the head coach for the Longhorns. Can he get it done? Can the Longhorns win the Southeastern Conference, go into the playoffs, and make a run for the national championship? Well, let's start here. The SEC championship game, Texas Longhorns versus the LSU Tigers. This is our final SEC prediction during the offseason. This is it. No more changes. It's set, signed, sealed, and delivered. This will be your final score in the SEC championship game. Texas 31, LSU 27. The Texas Longhorns are your SEC champion. So we've got the Texas Longhorns, SEC champion. We got the Texas Tech Red Raiders, your Big 12 champion. We've got the LSU Tigers coming in second in the SEC. Georgia coming in third, and Ole Miss coming in fourth. We believe all four of those teams are going to be in the college football playoffs. Ole Miss, Georgia, LSU, and of course the Longhorns. And just missing the playoffs will be the Texas A&M Aggies. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. That's our final PATC order of finish prediction for the SEC. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. But I don't think we got anything wrong this year in the SEC. No siree. All right. Now let's get to Ross Dellinger's reporting. Out this morning. Let's get to our big story. You know what? First of all, let's get to a very kind super chat here. Let's get to a very kind super chat. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. We got a big story to hit. Hey, Wabbit. Hey, Wabbit. Thanks for coming on in. Hey, Wabbit. We've got a $10 I do declare super chat. Wow. Hey, Wabbit. I do declare Mississippi State will have a 3-touchdown lead at half versus the Minnesota Golden Gophers. All right, I'm gonna help you out. Hey, Wabbit. I'm gonna say Mississippi State has at least a 3-touchdown lead, because if Mississippi State is up by 24 at half, you deserve the 5 points. So we are going to put, or up 27 or up 34 or whatever. So we are going to change that to at least 3 touchdowns. So let me add that in. We haven't had a new I do declare in a while here. It is going to be number 109. 109. I do declare number 109, Mississippi State There it is. Mississippi State, at least 21-point lead at half. Hey, Wabbit, we are going to put that as a 5-point valuation, because that is an extreme long shot. Hey, Rabbit, thank you for participating in an I Do Declare College Football World Championship, where you make a bold I Do Declare statement. We put it in the books. It cannot be the chalk, and we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-point valuation. A 1-point valuation is close to chalk, but not quite. There is some boldness in your I do declare. 2-point, a little bit more boldness. 3-point, a little bit more boldness. 4-point, huge boldness. It probably isn't going to happen. In 5, well, you got to be a little nutty to have an I do declare. That's a 5-point valuation. But lucky for us, College football fans are nutty at this time of season because they feel so optimistic about their team. Thank you, Hey Wabbit. I appreciate it, sir. Very much appreciate it. All right. Let's get to, excuse me, Ross Dellinger. Report today. And again, keep your head on a swivel. If there's any more live reporting on this particular subject, the PCSA, let me know during our live show. Let me know in the chat. Ross Dellinger, SEC and the Big Ten have requested additional language to a cap circumvention provision in the Protect the College Sports Act that could result in their support. Sources tell Yahoo Sports. Many university presidents in both leagues support the bill if these changes are made. In other words, they want a really tight, hard cap in the bill. The SEC and the Big Ten presidents are somewhat split on the bill. Perhaps a reason votes were not taken Thursday. Some supportive, others want changes, others are against. Central to both is a desire to harden the rev share cap, considering the bill raises the cap from $21.3 million to $48.8 million. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, again, earlier today. Conference executives, Notre Dame officials, lawmakers, and legislative staff have been engrossed in talks this morning, Friday morning, about the language, sources tell Yahoo Sports. The White House, President Donald Trump, have engaged in an aggressive way. He adamantly supports a bill. Ross Dellinger. The SEC held an hour-long president's call this morning, the second such gathering in an 18-hour period, to further discuss the bill. Those with knowledge of the call described more supportive movement from the group if those changes are made to cap circumvention language. And finally, Ross Dellinger reports, the SEC and the Big Ten support is central to the bill's passage. There remains a path for the bill to reach the Senate floor for a vote next week before lawmakers leave for recess. Leader John Thune needs to file Monday for cloture, which starts the process for a late week vote. Okay. I'm going to let you all know what I've heard late last night. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. I appreciate the patience. Okay. This is what we were told. And this has been quite apparent. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC, along with the other conferences, truly need an antitrust exemption. Because if they don't have one, right, they're going to keep getting sued. Now, they can go in their own silos. They can go and try to enforce their own rules. They're probably going to be more successful in the courts. But if they can, they'd rather have this blanket antitrust exemption from the federal government that supersedes all these state laws. And again, the state laws are different among schools in the SEC, among schools in the Big Ten, among all the schools in the ACC and the Big 12. You've got different state laws. You've got different... They want this antitrust exemption. The question is how much are they willing to give up for it? So we were told last night, and I had communications this morning. There is this house strategy I want to talk about. North Carolina. Yes, we're gonna go ahead and jump ahead to the 19-5 situation, where there's a hard in this bill. There's a hard cap of 19 members to a conference, with a 5-year provision that you have to play independent before you jump from one power league to another, one power conference to another. North Carolina's chancellor publicly stated that he is in favor of this Senate bill. And then he mentioned to Brian Murphy, WRAL, that he would hope in the House that they would tweak the bill. So we were told, and we sort of, you could sort of guess it when we were doing a live show, that it wasn't North Carolina that was one of the small group of schools that did not want this bill to pass in the Senate because of its expansion provisions. We do not know what those schools are at Peek Around the Corner. We can guess, but it would only be a guess. So we don't know what those schools are. Probably Clemson, probably Miami, probably Florida State, maybe another one after that, but it's not North Carolina. Nor do we think it was Virginia. We believe that Virginia is doing what North Carolina is doing. And that's this. There is this House strategy that some are leaning, some are favoring that one. There are SEC voices that are favoring that one. There are Big Ten voices that are favoring that one. There's a North Carolina, Virginia, and possibly a couple of other ACC schools that are favoring that one. And that's this. Get it passed in the Senate. But the Senate has to do A, B, C, and D. They have to get that done. Give antitrust exemption in the bill. Have it so the NCAA, the schools, have the ability to make rules with eligibility, transfer, whatever. And it's got to be able to hold up in court. This bill, this federal bill, has to supersede all state laws. Raise the cap, but have it tight and have the ability to raise the cap in the future. All of these things and more has to be in the Senate. A few other items, they're hoping to tweak in the House. Get it passed in the Senate. Now it goes to the House. And in the House reconciliation bill with the Senate, that is where the Big Ten, North Carolina, and others are going to say that expansion cap at 19, that don't work for us, brother. If that doesn't get changed in the reconciliation, the negotiations between the House and the Senate, then it ain't going to pass the House. We got all this other stuff locked in. We got A, B, C, and D, and E, and F locked in the Senate bill with Cruz and Cantwell, but the other parts, they're going to have to change as well, or it ain't going to pass the House. The SEC and the Big Ten believe two things over everything else. Number one, they've got more control in the House. They need to get really some hard stuff done in the Senate, get it over to the House, and maybe we can finish this off in the way that we want to. The way that we can truly support it. That's the first thing they believe. That the House leaders are the LSU, is the state of Louisiana. They control this more. And the Southeastern Conference is not in favor of a 19 membership cap. That's number one. Number two, what the Big Ten and the SEC truly believe is that next Senate and the House is going to be less favorable to the Big Ten and to the SEC. That the next go around is going to be even more brutal. So they're going to try to get this done. They're working on it. They're trying to get this last gasp of that cap, how to player compensation, raise the cap, a lot of compromising going on, retention pool, the bird rule. But they want it closed. They want the loophole closed. And then most of them, not all of them in the SEC and the Big Ten are going to support the Senate bill. Get it to the House. And now we put the finishing touches on the House. And is the Senate going to recoil? After all that, is Cody Campbell going to tell Cruz and Cantwell, we can't allow that compromise. We can't get rid of the cap number. If that's the case, then it ain't going to pass the House. It ain't going to be signed by Trump. And the Big Ten and the SEC are most likely going to do the following. Whatever happens in the next round, next year, in the new Senate, in the new House, the Big Ten and the SEC are most likely going to take the cap number off the page. In other words, they're going to act. They're going to expand. So it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to hold over the Big Ten and the SEC. That sounds like it's the strategy going forward. It is why. We finally got the answer why. It is why Petiti is not holding up A, B, C, D in the Senate bill for the cap number. Yeah, he's talked about it when he's asked. He said, we don't know where this came from. We do not understand the number 19. They're not supporting the 19. They're not proposing the 19. But they're not fighting over the 19 in the Senate. But they will in the House. That is the House strategy from the Big Ten and the SEC. Now, again, there is some voices in the Big Ten and the SEC that are against this bill. Today they're against it. Tomorrow they're going to be against it. The next day they're going to be against it. We have been told that the Ohio State Buckeyes want this bill to get done. So that is a major voice. It's only one vote in the Big Ten, but again, we're really not voting as a conference. Like, there isn't 16 votes in the Big Ten or 18. There's not 16 in the SEC. The conferences are not having a vote and then saying, okay, it's not going to be like that. The lawmakers are trying to figure out, do they have enough support to get it passed in the Senate? And if they got the Buckeye support, that's a lot. If they can get Georgia on board, which they're probably not going to, you understand? So this is the strategy by a lot. This is what North Carolina and Virginia and possibly a couple other schools, when trying to leave the door open to jump to a P2, they want to get this done in the Senate, and then hopefully those forces can tweak it in the House. And then there are some schools in the ACC that are saying, we don't trust the House strategy. We don't want this to pass because of the expansion provision in the Senate. But that is why Petiti is not holding up everything, because of the 19-5. Because they're going to attack it in the House reconciliation bill, the negotiations with the Senate. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Look, this could be Ted Cruz admitted they can't write any more antitrust protection than already is in the bill without violating the Sherman Act. Okay, I think the Big Ten and the SEC have gotten what they wanted in that regard. They're looking to tighten up the cap. They do not want, if they can afford it, they do not want the next Senate and House to be the ones that come up with the next bill. And if that happens, they're going to try to take some things off the table. They're going to try to work with their compensation package within the conference. They're going to try to take ownership of some of the rulemaking and enforcement, some of it. Not a complete breakaway from the NCAA, and most likely expansion. They take all that stuff off the table. And then go to the bargaining table with the Senate and the House. It doesn't mean anything other than my black shirts, I got more than one of them, are all being washed. That's all that means. Okay, we have a little bit of time here. I know I took up a lot of time. Again, we have to do the old prediction segment, final prediction segment, Big 12, SEC. We've got the ACC, we've got the Big 10, and then we got our final prediction for the college football playoffs. We have covered a lot of football during the off season, and we are going to continue to do so. And then, of course, it's going to be wall-to-wall coverage during the 2026 season, watch parties, aftermath shows, the crying, the celebrating. We are going to cover it all here at Peek Around the Corner. So please stick with us during the whole entire season of the 2026 It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be outstanding. It's going to be great. Okay. Let me open up the phone lines. We can get a couple of calls in. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Georgia is a solid no. House strategy is the Big Ten skating on the edge. Well, Ohio State doesn't support it yet. Kenneth Maynard, Ohio State supports it, the Big Ten. They want to support it. They want to get this bill done. They want that hard cap. Nope, no NIL deal. I got no sponsorship whatsoever. Completely independent. The only revenue we get is from the PATC Einsteins to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, to do this show every single day. That's all we do. You do not see any sponsorship on the screen. I've had a lot of opportunities. I could have a FanDuel. I could have a lot of, I said no to all of it. Completely independent, national, rebel outpost for college football sickos like you. And that's how we are going to continue to do so. Now, someday, if there is somebody, sponsorship, that I'm truly in love with, and they actually want to be associated with the show, then I could do that. But if one doesn't completely knock me off my rocker, we are going to remain completely independent. MBM is in the house. MBM. All right. That's fine. Nobody wants to call in. That is fine. We've been rambling on for a long time. It is Friday. I know all of you want to get back. All of you want to get back to your life, your weekend. Again, we are going to be coming on. We are going to be coming on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday show. We're going to be covering the latest reporting of the PSCA. I'm sure we're going to get some reporting over the weekend. So we're going to be covering all that. I do know that this Gary Fineout, I'm just going to show you here, talking about a Florida Board of Governors task force on college athletics is scheduled next week to go over a long list of items that could impact the state's football programs, such as Florida, Florida State, UCF, USF, which are all public institutions. Included on the discussion list, a sports betting tax or user fee that could be used to fund athletics. So that is a story that we may cover tomorrow. I do want to thank, hold on. I do want to thank Bruce Harris, Evil Badger, Ricky Tungate, his massive super chat, Evan Gully, and Hey Wabbit. I appreciate you guys' donation, helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Nobody was interested in calling in. That is fine. It's a Friday. We're turning into Friday evening. A lot of you want to start enjoying the weekend. I do appreciate you all joining us. SEC, final order of finish prediction. The Texas Longhorns over the LSU Tigers in the SEC championship game. Keep putting comments in the comment section below the video on this live show. I read them all. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. And buckle up, brace for impact. I think there's going to be some bigger breaking news when it comes to the Protect the College Sports Act. Tomorrow is Saturday, 4 Saturdays away from week 0 of college football. I cannot wait. I am all fired up. Before you leave, make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, and make sure you ring that notification bell. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family,